Much calmer as we look into our Thursday morning. The tail end of Milton will be making its way far off the eastern seaboard, crossing the I-95 corridor. That's the latest over here in the Weather Center. We'll send it back over to the desk to you guys.
Chris, I have one question for you before we let you go. Whether you or Bobby can maybe field this one. Are we still concerned about flooding with these rivers?
Yeah, rivers, that could still be 24, 48 hours, perhaps even, days or longer, because once this water falls, it's got to go somewhere. There's areas that could see up to 12 to 18 inches of rain after this is all said and done. So flash flooding is the immediate concern. That's tonight into early tomorrow morning. River flooding, that's something that may take a few days to actually filter out.
All right, we want to take a look at power outages, and let's go live to Melissa Sasis, Duke Energy Florida president, on the phone with us. Melissa, are you able to hear us? You're with Dave Wagner and Courtney Robinson, 10 Tampa Bay.
I am. Good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah, good evening to you too, and we appreciate you being with us. But let me just ask you a first question. What kind of outages are you seeing? What kind of problems are being presented to you?
So right now we have about 275,000 customers off, and we have restored 62,000 across the 35 counties that we serve. For Pinellas County, it's about 190,000 of the 275 that I just mentioned, and we've been able to restore 32,000 so far through the weather.
Trying to reestablish with Melissa here. All right.
Okay, so our power just kind of went out here. Police Department. This is outside of the Bradenton Police Department. Bear with us, just like you were going through this, where the power comes, the power goes, and so we're trying to stay on here and make sure that you have the information that you need. This is Bradenton, and you can see that wind still pushing through, the rain coming with it as well outside of the Bradenton Police Department.
All right, let's take a look at the Hotel Floridian right here. This gives you kind of a sense as to what this looks like right here. You can tell this is looking east, we're told. So you see the cranes there, and the good news is 2 of the cranes are upright, so that's a good sign there that they have not had problems with those cranes right there. There has been a concern about that.
This is what you're looking at right here, I think, is downtown Tampa as well, that we were seeing earlier, and just maybe some video that we're rolling through right here as you're seeing just all of the rain coming down. This wind, as it really picks up, you're going to start to experience these power outages as well if you have not already experienced a power outage. Look at this right here. This is in Seminole Park Boulevard at Oakhurst, and you can see the signals right there just bouncing as the wind just really is relentless.
Yeah, here's another look downtown Tampa. Here's a live look, and this is what you would expect. This is a live shot with a CBS reporter there, kind of in the foreground, but we're taking that camera live right now. But you see strong wind and some of the vegetation there blowing in the wind, just what you would expect at this point of the hurricane.
And just trying to look and see, where are we looking, what are we seeing? Looks very different when we're looking at it.
Well, and I think people are, they're behind protected walls and that kind of thing at this point. But we'll try our best to get Melissa Sasis from Duke Energy, the Florida president. She was kind of explaining some of the outages there, and you can understand why, given the wind out there right now, just a tremendous amount of wind that's causing problems. I'm kind of shocked that they have been able to restore power in the middle of this storm.
And what's also interesting right now, Dave, is that in these shots that we've taken, actually the power is on to some of these major, traffic signals and buildings that need the power. So that is a good thing to see right there. We do have Chris Hurst, who is live for us in Orlando, like so many of you. He evacuated that way. And Chris, I know you've talked with so many people. They want to know what's happened. What does it look like?
Yeah, and so many of them now are sort of glued to their radar as we finally have landfall in Siesta Key from Milton. We actually helped a couple of people download the 10 Tampa Bay Plus app so they could look at the radar right there on their phones. A lot of them crossing fingers, thinking that if they lived right along the coastline, in some areas that maybe the storm surge isn't going to be as high as they feared, and maybe the rainfall totals aren't going to be as high. But I got to tell you, we have some folks that might be heading to bed here at this hotel that are evacuees from Tampa Bay. We're at the DoubleTree in Orlando. This is kind of the trick time, right? Because you can see those bands still reform and be very thick. And we really don't know if Milton is going to slow any more than is already forecasted and maybe hover a little bit more than we anticipated. So while we're all breathing a sigh of relief, we cannot let our guard down on what we potentially could return to. But we are still out here in Orlando, in Orange County, where the winds have been gusty at times, and certainly Justin is going to try and zoom in on that stop sign. You know, signs like that are low on the ground, one of the things we look at to determine whether it's safe for us to be out there. You know, a lot of times when the winds get up really, really high, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, it's going to start to tear those signs like aluminum foil. But because they're holding up, we're not seeing really any branches on the ground right now where we are in Orange County. We think it's safe to be out here, but we just want to show you that the conditions still are pretty intense. Although I will say the winds, they look like they're really nasty, but the gusts really only into the 40s, maybe touching 50, but sustained winds in the 20s and 30s right now. So the other thing that a lot of people are looking at really is sort of how bifurcated the rain line is with this storm right now. Really, Mother Nature putting on quite the masterclass. It could be that the rain tapers off here in Orange County in the next couple of hours. It depends if the moisture still will push farther to the north and east, or will it start to clear out from the south and from the east. But right now, folks crossing fingers, holding their breath here while they are 100 miles away from their home, thinking that maybe they will have something to go back to when they return, when the sun comes up tomorrow and into Friday and into Saturday. Back to you, Dave.
All right, yeah, good point here. A lot of people losing internet, a lot of people losing various services right now. Melissa Sasas joins us right now. She is the president of Duke Energy Florida. Sorry we got cut off from you last time. We took a bit of a power hit ourselves here, but I was impressed when you were talking about restoring some of the electrical power in the area. How do you do that in the middle of a storm? How complicated is that as the storm is ongoing?
So of the 275,000 customers that have been off since the beginning of the storm and the 62,000 that are restored, most of those are restored automatically to our self-healing grid because once the winds are above 39 miles per hour, we're unable to then cruise out, especially in bucket trucks. But the investment through our storm protection plan and hardening the grid allows us all technology to automatically reroute power.
So sorry to interrupt you, Melissa. We're having some trouble hearing you. We have a bad connection. We realize a lot of people are having trouble connecting with each other right now. We're just among those. So we apologize. It's happened a couple of times. We'll try our best to get the information and bring it to you.
Where do you guys want to go? What do we have here?
I can take it. Got some weather to talk about, that's for sure.
All right, Bobby says he has some weather that he wants to talk about. I want to show some video earlier because one thing that Bobby has talked a lot about during this is the tornadoes, and we have some video from Fort Myers from earlier as we saw. Okay, Bobby.
All right. Well, I'll take it.
Thank
Here
you.
we go. Some good news here. This stretch of water right here, of rain, I should say, is actually getting a little bit better. It's getting smaller, and that is the key, because the smaller that gets, the less wind we're going to get as we go through the overnight hours in that area. Lost my TV over here. That's okay. So if I put this into motion, watch how that gets smaller. You see that? See how that's getting smaller right there? That's the highest wind. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not still seeing high winds. Let me go around and query some of this. Look at this area in Duet, northwestern parts of Hardy County. That's an estimate of 94 mile per hour winds off the surface. But that's 70, 80 mile per hour winds possible on the ground, all right? And in Bradenton right now, I think, I'll zoom in, but I mean, AMI, there has to be damage being blown into the Gulf of Mexico from Anna Maria Island. Let me clear this out. You can see 60 mile per hour does. Let's go down to AMI, and here's the good news. The winds in the Anna Maria Island area are starting to finally come down. There it is right there, all right? And let me put this into motion, and you can watch the brown area come through there. I didn't go back far enough here. Let's go back for the last, let's go 2 hours, because you're still going to be able to see it coming through. Look at the wind that they have dealt with over the past 2 hours. That is, well, gust to 100 right here at Egmont Key. Right, so I'm sure they've seen that as well. Certainly gusts in the 90s. From the northeast back down towards the southwest. So that's the back of the island. And we've seen about a foot and a half drop in the tide levels coming out of the bay. So that's a bulge of water coming down here and getting into basically behind the island, going all the way behind Longboat Key. That wind is starting to come down a little bit. So you can see as it pushes out, as this brown pushes out here over towards Memphis and Bradenton, Gillette, Palmetto, that the winds will be coming down for Anna Maria Island as well too, finally. But that's going to have done a little bit of damage. So things are starting now to get a little bit better. And obviously because of that, it looks like Pinellas County will be seeing the same, although we still have some really good wind gusts there. It is getting just a little bit less than what it has. My kind of rule of thumb now at this, I'm telling my friends and family, is after 11 p.m., we'll really start to see things slowly come down. I think right now some of the worst that we're going to see as far as the wind goes. We're going to keep some rain, but we're going to get rid of at least some of the wind gradually over the next couple of hours. So let me put this in, and we'll kind of go up here a little bit. And now this is just estimated winds, right? Estimated winds from the radar here. And you can see 50s to 60s, northwest Hillsborough. Let's get out towards the Dunedin area. You're talking about 50s and 60s as well. Generally, you know, the further northeast you go, we get a little less wind. But Dade City, Zephyr Hills area, we've got some pretty good winds out here as well, too. 40s, 50s. We'll have gusts in the 60s. We've got 63 is at least a possibility out there near Zephyr Hills. And again, this is all going to continue to push off towards the east-northeast and bring in those heavier rain showers with it. So right now, the heaviest rain is in there in central parts of Hillsborough County. I mean, downtown Tampa, certainly Davis Islands, but look just to the east. We're talking out towards Ybor City and essentially basically out through Brandon and Plant City. Let's say about 7, 8 inches. Does that? I mean, they did a really good job of saying wherever that center goes and to the north of it is where we get most of the rain, and that's exactly what we've been seeing. So this all continues to move off towards the east and the northeast. Winds obviously are coming down on the system because it's moved on shore, but that's going to be a very slow process. So areas like central and eastern Manatee County, eastern Hillsborough, western, well, most of Polk County and Hardy County, still looking at some decent winds. I mean, we've got 115 mile per hour winds near the center of this thing right now. And that's actually over the north-northwest side where Anna Maria was, where Bradenton is. It's moving to the east-northeast at 15 miles per hour, and the pressure's coming up. If you're in Manatee County, well, especially Sarasota and over into Hardy County, you're going to notice those pressures dropping. People in Sarasota already have. That's happening now in Hardy and DeSoto counties. Your ears will pop just a little bit. It's now 5 miles north of Sarasota, Florida. So the center's kind of jogged around here just a little bit. Track, if that makes a difference at this point, which really not too much. You can see it's going to push across the state over towards the Space Coast. It's going to be really close to getting over there, right over Cape Canaveral. But keeping basically hurricane force winds, anything over 74 miles per hour is hurricane force winds. And they're thinking there's going to be at least a small area in there before it gets over there that's going to have some winds that are just like that. landfall was earlier, 8:30 this morning. Notice, or this evening, excuse me. Notice the sound side here. The bottom, the south side, doesn't have as much rain.
Santo, 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 toda a terra está repleta da tua glória. Senhor, oramos pelos 4 cantos dos Estados Unidos, Tampa, São Petersburgo, Lakeland, ô Senhor, toma, Pai, toda essa região, Daytona Beach, Pai. Em nome de Jesus, nós clamamos proteção. Coloca, Senhor, o teu escudo protetor, Pai, em todas essas áreas onde o Milton tá passando, Senhor. Em nome de Jesus, Pai, clamamos que os teus anjos estejam com espada desembainhada. Senhor, bota muro de fogo, Pai, em toda a região de Brandon. Ô, Senhor, toma, Carolina do Norte. Aleluia, louvado seja o nome do Senhor. Aonde esse furacão está passando, Deus? Em nome de Jesus, nós clamamos uma intervenção divina, Pai. Coloca o teu escudo protetor, o Senhor é escudo para a tua igreja, o Senhor é escudo para a tua noiva. Lá em Apocalipse 3, o Senhor diz que a igreja de Filadélfia teria proteção no tempo de provação, Pai. Nos guarda, Pai, nos esconde debaixo das tuas asas. E eu te peço, anjos de peleja, anjos de batalha, anjos de guerra, segura esses ventos, Senhor. Segura essa chuva, Senhor. Como tua igreja, como atalaia, nós estamos aqui levantando um clamor para todos os Estados Unidos, Senhor. Tampa, Carolina do Norte, Brandon. Oh, Senhor, toma, Pai. Oh, Deus. Lady Lake. Oh, Senhor, toma, Pai, em nome de Jesus. São Petersburgo, Pai. Em nome de Jesus, vai guardando cada região onde esse furacão, esse tufão está passando, Jesus. Nós pedimos uma intervenção divina, uma intervenção do teu poder, da tua glória, dos teus anjos. Envia anjos. Que o Senhor segure esse furacão, esse hurricane, Milton. Aleluia. Pedimos a intervenção do sangue de Jesus. Aleluia. Louvado seja o nome do Senhor.
This certainly does warrant the fact that they've issued that flash flood emergency. So it is a very rare event that has occurred right now. And that flash flood, as Bobby said, this is an area that maybe hasn't been accustomed to seeing rainfall like this. It is all coming down so quickly. Much of this rain is coming down 2, 3, 4 inches per hour. It is an outer tropical rain band. So here it is, that rain band that is coming right over the Bay Area. So from St. Petersburg up into Tampa. And this is just parked here. This isn't going to be moving anywhere anytime soon. Just about 20 to 30 minutes ago, we went through that hour-by-hour forecast. This could be around for another couple of hours. We're seeing that heavy rainfall that is occurring. The intensity of that rainfall, perhaps rainfall you haven't seen like that hard in quite some time. So flash flood warning, that is an emergency that was issued. That will be out there for about another 2 hours as we get that outer band, so to speak, of Milton that is really going to be moving through. You can see that pivot point as well. So there's our circulation. We've got landfall. That occurred at 8:30. That occurred just over Siesta Key, and that continues to move inland. But the problem is, and Bobby mentioned it as well, the southern edge of this system, the southern edge of this tropical system, that was sheared off, but it was really transported to the northern side of that circulation. So that's essentially what happened here. It was sheared off with that wind shear, which was part of the process that actually weakened Milton to begin with as it made its landfall, but it's transported a lot of that tropical moisture right over the Tampa Bay area, and that's going to continue too. If I could give you a heads up as well. We're probably not going to see the last of this. This is likely to continue down the I-4 corridor as well, so over toward Lakeland and north of I-4, we're getting really heavy rainfall rates. Those estimates so far, and again, it puts us, we're going to be way beyond that scale there. We're going to be in excess of 12 to 14, even up to 16 inches of rain. Some of that really heavy rainfall down toward Pinellas Park. This is areas that have potentially seen a little bit of storm surge. Now they're getting about a foot of rainfall on top of what they saw with a little bit of storm surge earlier in the day. So we had mentioned that it was a good news type of scenario, that as far as storm surge, the winds had sucked the water out of the bay. Well, what's coming from the sky is just as much of an issue, because of flash flooding, it's going to be for areas that may be well inland and not accustomed to that. I did get some reports of storm surge, though, that were fairly minor compared to what occurred down towards Sarasota and areas and points to the south. So that's the latest on what we have with that one, but do need to treat that flash flood emergency with some serious tone, and I do expect that may not be done with it at this point. We could have additional flash flood emergencies still yet.
So much water with very little place to go right now, and that's kind of overpowering the system. Let's check in with Emerald Morris. She's down in Bradenton right now. Emerald, what are you seeing down that way?
Listen, Dave, let me tell you, this wind is nothing to play with. Okay, so we're in the hallway right now. We're just going to turn the camera around. We are not going outside, because when we were kind of standing just over here, we have some hurricane watchers, some brave people who are going out there. I'm not setting foot out there, but we saw branches snapping, and I mean the wind would come through and whip, and you just heard a big crackle, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed, and I don't need to be out there. I don't need to play around with this at all. But you can seriously see just how strong the wind is. You can see how the bands and how everything is just kind of whipping through. So it just kind of brings it home how serious this storm is, something that we have not seen anybody in this area pretty much has seen in their lifetime. So we're just going to let you take a look at how the winds are whipping through and just blowing through the trees here, in some cases blowing some of them down. Like I said, we got a couple of brave people, some people you might remember that we spoke to before. We got Freddie back here. Freddie, what made you come back out and want to check this out and even set foot out there?
Oh, I think it's very, it's really interesting seeing how the hurricane is just, it's crazy. I don't know, it's very, we're okay.
Yes, we're okay. Thank you.
We're okay.
Thank you.
No, it's, I can't come up with the word now, but it's just fascinating to see how like strong the winds are and the power of this hurricane. And we're not even in the middle of it, or I don't think so, at least.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah, it's I don't know, it's a little scary, but it's cool. I got to witness it.
Yeah, I will say it's scary. Look, I'm not playing around. I'm not trying to be out there. That is scary. That is nothing to play with. So when everybody was saying this is not the storm that you want to ride out, what we saw out there is absolutely the reason why you wanted to listen to that. So very serious, you know, even though the storm has made landfall, obviously we are still seeing the impacts, the back end of that storm. Nothing to play with. We want everybody out there to be safe. Sending it back to you guys.
Yeah, I think we are all sort of impressed by the power of Mother Nature. Remind me, where did Freddie evacuate from?
So Freddie evacuated from Anna Maria Island, but you're actually from Sweden, though.
Yeah, so my parents own a condo out on the island, so I decided to go here for a little sunny vacation, I thought, but... So
a little different than a sunny vacation, though, huh?
A little different, but it's, I mean, we've... the communities had come together after Helene a lot, and just helping clean out the houses and all that. And I think depending on how much damage this does, it's probably more. I think the communities are going to come together and help again.
Yeah, they absolutely will. We've already seen that, as you mentioned, and hopefully, I know, I'm not going to say hopefully, I know we will see that again once this storm passes. But tell me, as you're seeing this, I know when we talked before, you were just kind of cool as a cucumber like your dad here, but how are you feeling now emotionally when you think about going back to your condo?
It's going to be sad, of course, and I think hopefully our condo is going to be okay, I think, because it's up on the second floor and all that, but it's going to be devastating to go out on the island and just see all the damage that it's done to a lot of the houses that are underground. Some of them are probably just going to be gone. So it's going to be sad going out there for sure. And even though it's very interesting and fascinating seeing it, it's you can't forget about all the people that get really affected by it too, you know.
Absolutely.
And the people that are right in the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Freddie, for taking
you.
some time to talk with us about this very serious storm. I know a lot of people are intrigued and fascinated and want to see what's going on, but it's something that you cannot play with. You got to be safe.
Yeah, we really do appreciate his perspective there. It's helpful and gives us kind of a sense of where people's minds are right now.
Well, we're approaching 10 o'clock. Hurricane Milton made landfall as a Category 3 on Siesta Key. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay as we continue our coverage of Hurricane Milton. I'm Courtney Robinson along with Dave Wagner. And it is impressive to see what Mother Nature continues to do here in our area. And you just think about everyone with the surge in Southwest Florida.
Here's 3 important things to know right now. Milton made landfall over Siesta Key. That was at 8:30 this evening. Category 3 storm. 1 million customers without power across the state of Florida right now. They're working hard to restore them. We just talked to Melissa Stasis with President of Duke Energy Florida. They've already been able to restore power in some areas because they have kind of these self-healing kind of power. So that's been great. The Northeast and Southwest sewer plants in St. Pete are shut down right now. They did that proactively so there was not saltwater incursion into them. That'll take them a while once this storm passes to get them back online. In the meantime, you're not supposed to flush your toilets, otherwise sewage could come up into your house, and nobody wants that.
And with this wind, we do see power outages rising. Duke Energy has more than 300,000 customers without power. FPL, more than 500,000. And TECO, almost 200,000 customers. And they are working to restore that, but there's only so much that you can do with the wind gusts that we're seeing right now. So they're working very quickly to do that. We are here off of Hillsborough Avenue, and you can see out onto Hillsborough Avenue kind of the wind that is coming through again in Tampa, just blowing, and all the rain as well. People still driving.
We want to go to St. Petersburg, where we've been keeping an eye both outside and inside. Luke Clary has been at a hotel station, He was out on the pier earlier where it was really rough out there. Now he's been inside a hotel in downtown St. Pete, keeping an eye on things for us, talking to people who've evacuated. Okay, he stepped back outside. Let's check in with Luke. Are you able to hear us, Luke? Okay, he stepped outside, so that means he's not available to us. Let's take a live look if we can right now, and hopefully give you a better picture of what it looks like on the outside.
At Oldsmar.
Yep.
Oh, no, excuse me. Sorry, Tampa Road at Pine Avenue in Oldsmar. And this is what's happening right now. Just, you know, again, this is kind of going to keep coming through for the next few hours as it pushes inland, making its way across the state of Florida. We do have Luke Clary. He has a little more from us from St. Petersburg.
We're standing just outside of our hotel in downtown St. Pete. We wanted to show you just how powerful the winds are blowing here. Take a look. Now, this is the intersection of 4th Street and 3rd Avenue, and you can see the rain just coming down in sheets. The wind just coming through here, blowing debris around. You might be able to make out over there. You see the water running through the gutter and a bit of tree debris that's sitting there. And we haven't seen much in the way of it flying around, but when the gusts come through here, as they are right now, it's not hard to see why people are so concerned about all of the debris left over from Hurricane Helene that crews did not have a chance to clean up before this storm came in. So once again, as we see some of the water pooling in the gutters, some of these gutters are clogged right now with tree debris, branches, and leaves. That could be a concern. We're about a block, 2 blocks from any of the mandatory evacuation zones, and we're about 40 feet above sea level here, so flooding is not a significant concern. We may be out of harm's way in terms of that storm surge, but as you can clearly see, the driving rain and those whipping winds remain a significant concern and a serious hazard from where we stand in downtown St. Pete. Luke Clary, 10 Tampa Bay.
All right, Luke, thanks a lot. We want to take you live right now to Alternate 19 and Curlew Road to give you a sense as to what it is like in this area right now. So this is the same area where they had some of those evacuations up in Dunedin here. This is the look at it right now. It's not so much the rising water as it was during Hurricane Helene. It's the wind and the rain just blowing sheets of rain down the street there.
I was talking to a friend, just checking in on people, making sure, that they're listening and they've lost power here and there. And, some have said, this really makes them nervous. They've not really been nervous before, but the wind, they can feel right now in their homes, that storm-rated homes and whatnot, they can still feel it and makes them, and you can see outside what is happening, and this is why.
I mean, I think we were all a little nervous in advance of this storm, and I think those kind of the nerves continue until this storm is over, in part because we've never been through anything like this in a long time, and it was kind of hard for us to imagine what life might be like on the back end and what it might be like in the middle of the storm. So I think we're all, sort of going through uncharted territory here right now.
And, I want you to understand at home, too, we have crews that are in all of these different communities.
There's something going down the street right there. See it?
What is that?
Some debris, something. Okay.
I don't know.
Something blowing down the street. All right, we should go over to Colleen, though. She has an update for us. Colleen?
Yeah, Dave and Courtney, everybody at home. So you just saw that camera there, something blowing down the street there. We've had 80, 90, 100 mile per hour wind gusts, and those winds are just traveling more inland as Milton continues to move here. As the main concern right now is the heavy rain that we have, as well as the strong wind. And it looks like my microphone is going off, so I'm going to...
With your mic, we're going to fix your mic.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to you here because we want people to hear the important information that you're sharing. But we want to go to Hannah Deneen. 10 Tampa Bay's Hannah Deneen is in Hernando County right now. Been keeping an eye on things there for us. Hannah, what are you seeing?
Hey, Dave, we are outside our hotel in Brooksville, where the power here has been flickering periodically at our hotel, all the street lights, and it's clear to see why. The strong, powerful wind and the rain tonight. If we can look up at this street light here, which is fortunately still on for the moment, you can see how fast that powerful wind is pushing the rain through. Shortly ago, I was speaking with Sheriff Al Nienhuis, who says right now they're getting reports of power lines in the roads, trees in the roadway, emphasizing that is all the more reason for people to, at this point, be hunkering down. It is not safe for you to be outside of your safe spot right now. He is also urging people not just to stay put tonight, stay off the roads tonight, but also tomorrow as well, for as long as possible, to help them have the time to clean up properly.
The ground is wet. It's been raining all day, which means it's very easy for those trees to come down, and then we have a large gust of wind, and that tree can come down at any moment. Unfortunately, oftentimes it'll take power lines down with it. It's probably going to take a while until this storm subsides, makes landfall, and moves on before we can really assess the damage and address some of those bigger issues.
And I want to just take you out behind me just once again, Noel, if you can show them what we're seeing right now. This is the most powerful wind that we've seen so far tonight. Truly just incredible to see how quickly this water is blowing through this parking lot right now. And because of the strong winds right now, across Hernando County, across Pasco County, just south of us as well, they have suspended emergency operations where they're not sending out first responders right now because it's simply not safe for them to be responding to those routine calls. So if you do call 911 right now, they say they will not be able to send anyone out to you. However, they still want you to call so that they know what's going on, so that they can get out there and respond to you as quickly as possible. In Brooksville, Hannah Deneen, 10 Tampa Bay.
Hannah, thank you very much. I can't help but notice the electric vehicles that are behind her, and glad to see that people had take them with you when they evacuated. Colleen Campbell is here with us now. Colleen, we got your mic fixed, and you were talking about the wind speeds.
Yes, yeah. So the wind speeds are very important, as well as the heavy rain. That's our main concern right now. We have that flash flood emergency for some of our counties that we're going to get to. But here's Hurricane Milton. Yes, still hurricane made landfall around 8:30 in Siesta Key. So continues to move inland, going to impact coast from coast. We've been saying that from the beginning. Let's take a zoom in here so you can see the reflectivity there. That heavy rain moving through portions of 275.
But we're having issues with your microphone again. Apologies. Let's give you a live look right now at Ulmerton Road at Seminole Boulevard, if that's where we can go right now. And you could really just kind of underscore again the wind that Colleen is talking about, 82 in Tampa, 90, I think, at Albert Whitted.
Right. Yeah, and it varies from place to place, of course, but strong wind gusts, some very strong sustained winds out there as well. And when we go to Tampa, take a look at some of the high winds down there. We're also seeing, again, it's sort of at times it's relatively calm.
Oh, look at it.
And at times, it's not. I mean, it's not what we saw in Hernando County, but strong winds there as well. In some places, we've seen streetlights moving. In other places, we see these signs really kind of jamming in the wind there.
And we have high winds as well from Ybor City. We saw so many of those businesses boarded up, and you can see right here, hotel pool and all of that just coming off the roof of the hotel with their palm trees too, bending. That's one thing to keep in mind too, as you may be going to bed and then tomorrow waking up to look at what the damage. You want to make sure that you don't walk under these trees. Or near these trees, right? Because they have been weakened and the ground is saturated and they can come down even if they aren't down already.
Yeah, power lines as well, so be very careful of those because you don't know which ones are hot there. So let's take a look at St. Pete if we can too. A lot of people evacuated parking garages. Some people are seeking protection in parking garages right now, but you look at the danger and these signs just kind of whipping around there, and this is why they don't want you out there, because things like this, this sign could easily just fly through the air. You hear it smacking the ceiling there, but a lot of cars are parked in there right now. I would say that red one right there is in a little peril. Hopefully it's doing okay. But this is the mess that this hurricane causes. And you just don't want to be the recipient of a piece of metal out there, a piece of debris.
And Bobby, I know we've talked about before with the underpasses not being safe. I kind of look at this and think, yes, you've taken cover, but the way that the wind works and just picks things up, not necessarily the safest. We have a live look at US 19 at Ulmerton Road that we want to give you right now. Again, coming up on 10 o'clock here on this Wednesday? Wednesday.
Yeah, I know, it's long days and nights.
And, again, just the wind is so punishing.
It really is. Yeah, it's punishing for a lot of people, and a lot of folks, to our south are really